don't get that, man. They go through all this trouble to get here, and then come here and vote Democrat.
Any moment now. There we are. Good evening, everybody. I have some good stuff for you guys tonight. The bugs are mostly worked out. I really only have like one issue right now where I got to unplug and plug in my darn USB card right now with my headset. Like I said previously, we really need to do some money, like to do some stuff like raise some money to be able to help get some more equipment. But right now we're doing pretty good, and I got the stream, I believe, working pretty well. Interesting stuff today, right? So Julian Assange is now on his way, being extradited, I guess, back to the U.S. There's an interesting connection with all of this to Julian Assange. If you Google, just do a Google. Wikistrat is WikiLeaks, and see what you come up with, because this is not my theory. This has been pushed around for quite a bit. In fact, what I'm going to do is let me pull something up here. This is actually from a WikiLeaks thing. Let me put this on the screen for you guys here. Web page, and there you go. Alright, so this is from WikiLeaks. This is an article that was pulled up by Stratfor, and who worked for who was in intelligence. They were contractors, just like me. I contracted for 8 years. I worked for General James Jones for a company called Dynology. I answered directly to his son, Jim Jones. Basically, my job was in pioneering social media influence operations capabilities, both covert and overt, for largely government contracts, but also it was, we made these capabilities available commercially, and even discussed for its ability to influence an election, right, in the U.S. So this is why I'm able to put all this together, because I recognize what these guys are doing, and in fact, so does this. Okay, so you got an email chain right here. Who are these guys? So one guy is like got to be a front company for Israeli intelligence and or intellectual property theft. This is an email exchange. That's not the one I want. Bear with me one moment here. There we go. Okay. Global intelligence files. Mossad traces on Wikistrat, WikiLeaks. So even our own intelligence agencies were looking at these guys, saying, "Hey, from former director of Mossad, former director of the Mossad's intelligence directorate." Okay, this isn't the one I was looking at earlier, but these all just go towards the fact that Wikistrat is basically an intelligence operation turned they basically use crowdsourcing to develop intelligence asset, collect intelligence. The interesting thing about this, right, is that a lot of these organizations believe that WikiLeaks is Wikistrat. Now keep this in mind, right? So as I told you before, I work directly for I worked for a company, a small company owned by General Jones. A lot of people don't understand or know that General Jones in a lot of people don't understand or know that General Jones in 2000 and uh, 2008, 2009, when Obama originally tapped, um, Obama ended up tapping Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. Originally, though, he had asked General Jones to be Secretary of State, and General Jones um, accepted. I heard this from his son. You know, he was elated about it. He went back before accepting. He went back and talked to his wife and kids. They all said, "Go for it, Dad." And he went back, told Obama he'd do it, and he was accepted. But then a couple days later, without even being told or given any heads up, Obama comes out and taps Hillary Clinton. Never even gave Jones a heads up. And this was told to me directly by Jim. So, you know, I've never been able to find anything to prove this, but I'm just telling you straight out, that's what happened. So, understanding when you're looking for means, motive, and opportunity for something, consider the motive. Consider the fact that what if a lot of the stuff we're talking about could have been, in at least in some part, just, you know, like traditional, just being ticked off at someone who screwed you over. But think about it. Jones was Obama's national security advisor from 2009 to 2010. He left around, I guess he submitted his resignation around early first part of like March or so of 2010. But if you Google when the WikiLeaks stuff came out, I want to make sure I'm not picking up any feedback from in there. But if you look at this from when if you look at this from when the stuff was released by Bradley Manning, it was all State Department stuff, right? This was all going after Hillary Clinton. And it was just right after, so right after Jones leaves the NSA, the State Department gets hit. Now, I'm hearing different things. I don't know, but from what I have heard, Julian Assange is being accused of actually helping Manning. I don't know how. What if someone had given him literally given him the password? Who would have access to it? I mean, if you're looking at someone with access, I mean, look at someone like Jones or someone like Michael Hayden, who's Jones's partner and as former CIA director, right? These people have access to this stuff, and I'm telling you right now, from an IIA is Interactive Internet Activities, and from an IIA perspective, I would absolutely. WikiLeaks is in my mind absolutely the perfect thing to do for an IIA thing, right? I just wrote an article. I published it on victimoftheswamp.com a couple days ago about IIA, and actually in there you'll see the policy guide from 2007 on IIA. That policy guide literally outlines how we are legally in the influence operation world, in the PSYOP world, how we're legally allowed to work with influence operations and work with journalists, right? It literally puts in a guideline. Okay, so you can work with journalists of this level, but a journalist of this level or with a really high level network, somebody like Fox or something, you wouldn't be allowed to do that. But clearly the policy, if you look on my website, it's a link right to the policy. Clearly the policy dictates that there is a level, right? Now, in my mind, setting up if you were to you know, if you were to put me in charge, I would set up WikiLeaks as just a means. See, all, you know, part of IIA, the biggest component of IIA, the biggest component of the ShadowNet, which was the what the commercial available program was with that. The main component of the ShadowNet was the ability to disseminate using non-attribution, right? So it's really, really difficult to disseminate stuff using non-attribution. I could not think of a better idea than to create a website, and believe me, folks, creating websites, doing this stuff, working with journalists, doing all of this stuff is not out of bounds by any means. I'm never going to say either way what we would or wouldn't do, or what we did or didn't do on anything to do with government, with the government as that relates. I'm talking from a commercial perspective. What these folks that I work with and helped and the applications and the things I helped pioneer, the white pages I helped write, are exactly in line with putting together something like a Wikistrat and using that as a non-attributable dissemination process, right? That's what you do. That's what the ShadowNet would do. Okay, so if you consider the fact that I built the ShadowNet for a company owned by General James Jones, if you consider the fact that he owned the intellectual property right and made that commercially available, if you consider the fact that Paul Manafort was our partner at the time, if you consider the fact that I believe Rick Davis was also, if you consider the fact that General Jones was Obama's national security advisor, this gives you access. All of these things. General Jones is on the board of Wikistrat. So the same person I developed the ShadowNet for and all of these capabilities for, who was a partner with Manafort and all of these people, who's on the board of directors of Wikistrat, which, by the way, Wikistrat and Cygroup is the exact same product as what we had at Jones's company, Dynology. So why would the president of Dynology be on the board of directors of another company that does the exact same thing? So Jones is on the board with Wikistrat. That's the first place directly connected to Mueller's indictments, and it's the Israeli-owned company. You'll see. Let me pull this up for you here real quick. You will see just how Wikistrat is connected to Cygroup. You don't have to go really too far. Wikistrat. Okay, Israeli cyber election meddling is its newest industry. I'm just grabbing this one, strategicculture.org. I have no idea, right? But let me pull this over here for you guys. So take 5 seconds, you'll see that Wikistrat's directly tied to Mueller's indictments, to the 22 influence operations in the 2016 election. All right. Now, I'm telling you, there's two things about this. This has nothing to do with helping Trump win. It has everything to do with keeping Hillary from winning. All right, irrespective of who was running against Hillary. If Hillary would have been a third-term Obama, and Obama was spying on Israel, Obama was influencing the Israeli elections, the Israelis, Mossad, must have been furious at us. I do not hold it against them, and it doesn't surprise me at the least. I actually have a great deal of respect for Israel. I'm a good Christian man, and I fully support them. And what Obama did to them was completely wrong, right? On every level. So would I be surprised? So what else do we have? Well, we've got, let me do this here real quick. Atlantic Council, Okay, Atlantic Council. Let me type in Atlantic Council, Mueller. Right? So Atlantic Council is all over Mueller with is all sorts of connections. Uh, I'm not Dan Bongino here, right? I can't rack all these people off, but you've got the company. I can't think of the name of the company, but the company that actually did the forensics, the cybersecurity forensics um, on the DNC servers after the leaked emails. That company is a huge member of the Atlantic Council. Dan Bongino was going off the other day on several other multi-million dollar connections to the Atlantic Council. There's dozens of people connected to the indictments in Atlantic Council. Well, who's the chairman of the board of Atlantic Council? General James Jones. Oh my gosh. Everywhere you look, everywhere you find Mueller, everywhere you find Russian collusion, you will find General James Jones, you will find Michael Hayden, you will find John McCain. Oh, John McCain's a huge fan of Trump. I actually am going to go out right now and say that John McCain was involved with the Ukrainian influence operations with Manafort, and there's plenty of evidence to show that and to support that. I'm talking about evidence, strong evidence, where literally there are newspaper reports or articles back in like 2009, 2010, where someone from the Obama administration literally called John McCain's office, where Paul Manafort was operating his business from, in John McCain's office, and said, could you please tell Paul Manafort to stop using influence operations to support Putin? Are you hearing what I'm saying, right? Stop using influence operations to support Putin. Now, I guess maybe you would just assume that Paul Manafort's doing this without John McCain knowing? That's a huge pill for me to swallow. I just personally don't believe much of anything that comes out of John McCain's mouth. I'm sorry. And he's an old PSYOP guy, and I don't trust him because of that, right? So you've got Jones directly involved with Wikistrat. Now, what if what I'm saying is true? Because, there is one common thread between the 2016 emails of Hillary Clinton and the 2010 release of Hillary Clinton's State Department emails. Again, right as Jones is walking out the door of the Obama administration. These are the things that General Jones paid me to think of. Capabilities and things his company, his son, I spoke to every day. These are the types of things. Influence operations, computer network operations, CNO, IIA, interactive internet activities. These are the things they hired me to think of. And if you guys, if you don't believe me, it's so easy to verify, right? 10 Ways to Sunday. I've got a memorandum on my site showing my work in IIA. Listen, time's up. It's 10:20. The broadcast looked to be largely successful, although I had a computer streaming this in the background to allow me to make sure it wasn't screwing up, and that may have actually been picked up in the background. I hope it wasn't, and if it did, I certainly don't think it's going to be anything like it was the other day. But otherwise, everything looks like it went really well. I'm going to start bringing these to you every day. Last thing, I did send out some stuff to, I sent out an email to Devin Nunes' chief of staff. I've also updated my my complaint with the Inspector General's office. So thanks all for tuning in. I will have more coming out shortly. Thank you very much. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. We have an Indiegogo.com site. We have a site. Go to our website, victimoftheswamp.com. throw a few bucks to our Indiegogo. You can get a copy of my current book for a few dollar contribution. You can even get your name put in my next book coming out as a supporter. Just all of that information's right from victimoftheswamp.com. I thank you very much for your time. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you later, folks. Have a great evening.